We usually just like to kick this off by asking you to tell us briefly why you feel the voters should elect you judge.
I think I'm the best candidate. Elections come down to comparisons. And when you compare my record, my background, and my demeanor with that of my opponent, Judge Mellon, I think I'm far and away the better qualified candidate. And once the campaign plays out, people will see that. I have a 20-year commitment and interest in public policy that has mixed the law and policy. It goes all the way back to my years at Columbia Law School. One of my professors, Professor Rapaczynski, was writing the Constitution for Poland. Another one of my professors had written the briefs in Brown versus Board of Education. And from that time really forward, I have tried to do the same thing, to mix the law and policy. I have plenty of trial experience. I have experience both in civil and in criminal law. And I understand many of the issues that are important in San Francisco, not only because the issues that in front of the Board of Supervisors, like universal health care and same-sex marriage, often end up in front of the courts, but also because I've spent the last 20 years talking to San Franciscans in a way that really most people don't get an opportunity to do, in community meetings virtually every day. I think I can represent San Franciscans in a very good way.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your your legal background? I'm not sure if you've been practicing law while you've been a supervisor, and then maybe tell us a little bit about the kind of cases and workload you had when you were a public defender.
Sure. Well, again, I do have civil law and criminal law experience. Like the mayor, for example, who operates hotels and restaurants. Many supervisors do have outside interests. I've maintained a small practice, not for economic reasons, but to continue to hone my skills, and also to continue to represent people that I do essentially on the Board of Supervisors, particularly communities of color. Most of my clients have been Hispanic or African American, people who I don't think would otherwise have much access to the courts. And I have represented them in a variety of cases, from probate, conservatorships, family law. I have done class actions, unfair business practices, 17200 cases. I have done personal injury cases. I tried a case last year in front of Judge Robertson. It was a 6-week trial, and continued to stay active. That's for the last essentially the last 7.5 years. In addition, I have to say that on the Board of Supervisors, you are practicing law, because we hear quasi-judicial appeals of land use projects, and so I've probably heard between 200 and 300 appeals. These are matters which both sides are represented by counsel. Testimony is given. There's a measure of cross-examination. Experts also testify. There's hundreds of millions of dollars involved, and the cases are directly appealable to the Superior Court. Prior to that, as a public defender, I tried approximately 15 cases to a jury. Of course, you know that many judges who are very fine judges had very many fewer cases, and so I think I have ample courtroom experience. I've been a transactional lawyer at Skadden Arps.
How long were you at Skadden? How many years?
I was at Skadden between 1995 and 1996, I think that pretty much covers the gamut of my direct legal experience. Although, even before going to law school, when I worked for Mayor Agnos as a finance assistant, I was the direct point person on the city's consent decree, which at the time was ordering us to integrate the fire department, and that was being administered by not only a couple special magistrates, but also Judge Marilyn Patel. I also was not quite the point person, but very involved in the city's consent decree on jail overcrowding. And, everyone sees the jail at 7th and and Bryant, but if you recall, at that time, we were fined because we were over capacity. And so those are two issues that go way back, almost 20 years now.
What type of case again? The trial before Judge Robertson? What type of trial?
It was a kind of a hybrid real estate probate case that we tried there.
Who else was involved in that case? Who was? Did you have co-counsel? Was there opposing counsel?
Yes, my co-counsel was Dennis Van,
Mhm.
VANN, and forgive me, I don't remember my opposing counsel. I believe it was Steve, and I think it was Rubenstein, but I don't recall his
Okay.
last name.
And the appeals board. Who are some of the lawyers who appear in front of the appeals board regularly? Is there anyone we could talk to ask them what their experience was like
Yes,
appearing before you?
Jim Rubin and Junius, Steve Vettel. Steve Vettel just moved from Morrison and Forster. Be two good people that you might talk to.
Okay, good.
And when you were in the public defender's office and you said you tried about 15 cases, were those misdemeanors or felonies? Or
They were mostly misdemeanors, yes.
You've been in front of a number of judges then over your career. Can you tell us, can you name a judge for us on the San Francisco bench, or someone who's retired from the bench that you would sort of most like to emulate, a judge that you think personifies the kind of judge you'd be, and why?
No, people often ask you if you have, heroes, and I think it's kind of along the same lines. The judges are, all make good decisions and bad decisions. They can be good and on some days and not as good on other days. I'd like to take the best qualities of what I've seen from all the many judges I've appeared in front of and bring them together to be the best judge that I can. But I can't sit and say that there's one that stands out as kind of not a hero, than someone I particularly want to emulate.
what kind of, when you say you'd like to take the best qualities you've seen, what would kind of be like the top 3 on your list maybe of what you feel the bench needs more of, or what you feel any judge should bring?
A judge should be very well prepared. I think a judge should do everything possible to avoid injuring the credibility of an attorney, and particularly in front of a jury or their clients. I think judges should, for the most part, try to settle cases aggressively and early. I think judges should probably, in most cases, limit their fact-finding, let the attorneys do the cross-examination, and let the attorneys ask the questions. I think that not only do attorneys not appreciate it, but I think that that juries really give undue importance to questions that the judges give. I think judges obviously need to be fair, but they also need to be, they need to move cases along, and there are too many cases in the system that are too important, and I think judges cannot give adequate time to the important cases if they don't really move things along. It's something that in the last 7.5 years on the board of supervisors, I think I've learned to do actually quite well. But even when I've been in court, and you see that in the last 7.5 years, that is, and you see cases that where you're waiting or taking forever, and it's a waste not only attorney's time but more importantly clients' time. I've seen clients that had to take days and days of vacation to handle matters that could have been done in a couple of days.